The ancient Persian Empire under King Xerxes stretched across the known world, ruling 127 provinces from India all the way to Ethiopia. From his throne in the city of Susa, Xerxes commanded absolute authority, governing millions of subjects who had no choice but to obey. That absolute authority was tested when his own wife, Queen Vashti, publicly defied a humiliating demand to parade herself before a drunken royal banquet. Her refusal wounded the king's pride, prompting his advisors to push through an edict that permanently removed her from power and launched an empire-wide search for a replacement. Among the young women brought to the palace was Hadassah, known by her Persian name, Esther. She was a Jewish orphan raised in exile by her cousin Mordecai. Through humility and quiet grace, she stood out to the absolute monarch, winning his favor and securing the royal crown. Entering the inner sanctum of the world's most powerful man meant navigating a palace where a single misstep or a revealed secret carried a death sentence. Esther was now a hidden asset in a court that had no idea her primary loyalty lay with the people the empire was about to target. Outside the palace gates, Mordecai spent his days where the city's business was conducted. There, he overheard two royal guards plotting to assassinate King Xerxes. He sent word through Esther, exposing the treason and saving the king's life. The event was documented in the official chronicles, yet Mordecai received zero recognition or reward. Shortly after, the king promoted an official named Haman to the highest rank in the empire, ordering everyone to bow to him. When Mordecai refused, Haman's irritation quickly grew into a deep, targeted hatred against both Mordecai and his Jewish heritage. This chart highlights the strict timeline Haman set in motion. He approached the king with deceitful claims about a rebellious people, securing the royal signet ring to authorize a brutal decree. According to this edict, every Jew in the empire was to be killed on a specific, mathematically fixed date, the 13th day of the 12th month. As mourning erupted across the provinces, Mordecai sent a desperate message to Esther, urging her to plead for their people. He warned her bluntly that if she stayed silent, deliverance would come from somewhere else, but she and her family would perish. He posed a simple question. Perhaps she was made queen exactly for such a time as this. Facing a guaranteed death sentence, Esther traded her fear for resolve, telling Mordecai to gather the people to fast, declaring that she would approach the king, even if it cost her life. Stepping into the inner court uninvited was a direct violation of Persian law. Anyone who approached the king without being summoned faced mandatory, immediate execution, unless the king chose to extend his golden scepter. On the third day of her fast, dressed in royal robes, Esther stood in the doorway. The king looked at her, and instead of ordering her death, he held out the golden scepter. He asked what she wanted, offering to grant her request up to half the kingdom. Rather than pleading for her people right there in the throne room, she executed a calculated delay. She simply invited the king and Haman to a private banquet she had prepared. During that first meal, she watched the king closely, sensing the timing wasn't right. When he asked again for her petition, she extended a second invitation for another banquet the following day, inflating Haman's arrogance as he left the palace feeling uniquely honored. This deliberate pause prevented Xerxes from making a snap political judgment. It stretched the timeline just long enough to create a window for an entirely unexpected event to occur that night. Unable to sleep, King Xerxes demanded his servants bring the official chronicles of the empire to distract his restless mind. As the scribes read through the history, they uncovered the forgotten entry detailing how Mordecai had saved the king from assassination. Xerxes realized that no honor or recognition had ever been given to the man who spared his life. At that exact moment, Haman walked into the court, intending to ask for permission to execute Mordecai. Before he could speak, the king asked him how to honor a highly favored man. Assuming it was for himself, Haman suggested a lavish royal parade, only to be ordered to carry out those exact honors for Mordecai instead. Humiliated, Haman attended Esther's second banquet. It was here that Esther finally dropped her facade. When the king asked for her request, she begged for her life and the survival of her people, pointing directly at Haman as the architect of their impending slaughter. Enraged by the betrayal, Xerxes stormed out, returning only to find Haman desperately clinging to the queen's couch. Guards immediately seized Haman and hanged him on the massive gallows he had specifically built for Mordecai. The man who plotted a genocide was destroyed by his own extreme hubris. Yet the legal threat he engineered remained fully active across the empire. In Persia, an edict sealed with the king's ring could not be revoked, not even by the king. To save the Jews, Mordecai drafted a secondary decree. This new law granted the Jewish people the right to assemble and defend themselves against any attackers. When the appointed day of violence arrived, Susa and the surrounding provinces erupted. Backed by royal protection and a unified defense, the Jewish population successfully repelled the onslaught, defeating 75,000 enemies across the empire. The historical record points out a crucial detail about the aftermath. The victors refused to take any plunder. Their fight was entirely about physical survival and justice, keeping their actions strictly defensive. By leveraging the rigid mechanisms of the empire's own unalterable legal code, Mordecai and Esther ensured that the very system intended to facilitate a massacre became the framework used to legally authorize their defense. To remember this extraordinary deliverance, the Jewish people established an annual celebration called Purim. Named after the lots Haman cast to choose the date of their execution, the festival turned a day marked for death into a permanent, living symbol of life. Mordecai himself rose to become second in command to King Xerxes. He used his immense political power not for personal enrichment, but to seek peace and truth for his people throughout the rest of his life. Yet, looking at the Book of Esther, there is a striking literary anomaly. Across the entire text, the name of God is never written a single time, but the narrative is constructed to show that his fingerprints are everywhere. Vashti's removal, Esther's unlikely rise, a random night of royal insomnia. None of these were mere coincidences. They function as deliberate, perfectly timed moves by an unseen orchestrator. True historical power doesn't ultimately rely on golden scepters, vast armies, or unalterable laws. It rests in a quiet providence that perfectly positions ordinary, courageous people to act exactly when they are needed.